Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femima.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT+1, that is 11 a.m. GMT+1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
Welcome to News Desk.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Nigerian federal government extends eased lockdown till August 6th. Former Central African Republic President Francois Bozize to vie for presidency. U.S. inaugurates experimental COVID-19 vaccine with 30,000 volunteers. Power consumers in Nigeria grown as the metering scheme suffers setback. Sports festival in Nigeria may hold in 2020, says Minister. Please stay with us as we bring you details of our news after the short break. All right, thanks for joining us once more. Now the news in details. Nigerian federal government extends eased lockdown till August 6th. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 announced the extension of the current phase 2 of eased lockdown by 1 week. With the extension, the phase which was initially scheduled to end on July 29 will now end on August 6th. The chairman of the task force and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, disclosed this at the PTF press briefing in Abuja. Mustafa said the PTF has continued to evaluate the developments as well as the level of compliance nationwide and has regrettably come to the inevitable conclusion that a majority of Nigerians, irrespective of status, creed, and level of education, continue to live in denial on the virulent nature of the virus and consistently breach the guidelines and non-pharmaceutical measures put in place. He has also considered that due to the upcoming Salah Eid-Kabir festivities, which coincide with the expiration of the current phase, it will be prudent to extend by 1 week from July 29, 2020 to Thursday, August 6, 2020. And moving forward quickly, the governor of Bayelsa State, Nigeria, promises he won't cut workers' salaries. The Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Dwoye Diri, assured workers in the state that there would be no salary cut for civil servants in the state. The governor gave the assurance at a public forum tagged Citizens Budget Participatory Session on review of the 2020 Consolidation for Prosperity Budget. The event, which was transmitted live on the state radio and also streamed online via Zoom and Facebook, was held at the Chief Harold Dapa Biriye Conference Center in Yenagoa. The governor, who explained that the public session was held in accordance with the state's amended Fiscal Responsibility Law of 2009, said the 2020 budget had been revised by 24.3% from 242 billion naira to 183 billion naira. He said there is a need to revise the budget to face the existing realities. The proposed budget size is now 183 billion naira against 242 billion naira that was in the original budget. Diri stressed that given his administration priority on workers' welfare, the slashing of the budget would not affect civil servant salaries. Quickly on other stories, Nigerian Union of Teachers insists on resumption of senior secondary school free pupils August 4th. The federal government of Nigeria said its senior secondary school free pupils will resume on August 4th in preparation for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, which is starting on August 17. The Federal Ministry of Education's Director of Press and Public Relations, Ben Gun, who disclosed this in a statement titled Exit Classes to Reopen August 4th, said the decision to recall the pupils was taken during a visual meeting involving the Ministry and Commissioners of Education in the 36 states of the Federation. The ministry said on resumption on August 4th, the pupils would have 2 weeks within which to prepare for the West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination. Although the Nigerian Union of Teachers and the All Nigerian Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools supported the reopening of final year classes, they insisted that state government must provide running water and personal protective equipment. Recall that school in Nigeria had been shut since March following the outbreak of coronavirus, but the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 had at its press conference on June 29 said the SS3 pupils in preparation for West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination would resume. But the federal government, after the Federal Executive Council meeting on July 8, said it had suspended the plan to recall graduating pupils for West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination because of the COVID-19 spread. Despite the federal government decision to delay the resumption of the pupils, states including Oyo and Cross River had recalled their senior secondary school 3 pupils. Quickly coming from around Africa, former Central African Republic President Francois Bozize to vie for presidency. Controversial former Central African Republic head of state Francois Bozize announced he's running in December presidential election, a high-risk vote in a country ravaged by civil war since his ouster in 2013. Activists of Bozize's Kwanakwa KNK party have been meeting in Bangui since Friday, and the announcement was widely expected. Appealing for unity in a bitterly divided and lawless country where 2/3 of the territory is controlled by militia groups, he asked all political parties to back him, saying he was a candidate for a national reconciliation. Bozize returned from exile Uganda last December. The veteran politician took power following a 2003 coup before being overthrown 10 years later by Michel Jotodia, head of the mainly Muslim Seleka rebellion in the predominantly Christian country. Since then, the poor landlocked country has spiraled further into bloodshed marked by vicious intercommunal violence. France intervened military in its former colony from 2013 to 2016 to push out the Seleka, winding down the operation after Faustin Touadéra was elected president. Touadéra governs today with the support of a large United Nations peacekeeping operation with more than 13,000 troops and police. The government signed the peace deal in February 2019 with 14 armed groups who typically claim to defend the interests of specific communities or religions. The fighting has forced nearly a quarter of the country's 4.7 million people to flee their homes. Bozize is still under sanctions by the United Nations for his role in the 2013 crisis, during which he is accused of supporting the Christian anti-Balaka militias. And still from around Africa, former Ivorian President Henry Konan Bedier to vie for presidency and opposition ticket. Ivory Coast 86-year-old former President Henry Konan Bedie said that age is an asset ahead of being declared his opposition party's candidate for October's 10th presidential election. After years of political turbulence in a West African country, the election has been tipped into uncertainty by the sudden death of Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly early this month. Coulibaly was a popular figure seen as the anointed successor of President Alassane Ouattara, who had ruled outstanding for re-election on October 31st. But Coulibaly's death has stirred speculation that Ouattara could run after all. Bedie, who served as president from 1993 until he was ousted in a coup in 1999, is hoping to fill the power vacuum. He is the leader of the Democratic Party of the Ivory Coast PDCI, which held a convention in Abidjan to select its candidate. Around 9,000 delegates will vote at 388 polling stations across the country in the party's primary, but the result is not in doubt. Bedie is the only contestant. Opponents of Bedie, who unsuccessfully ran for president in 2000 and 2010, have criticized his advanced age. Bedie's previous presidency came at a time when Ivory Coast was a haven of peace and stability in restive West Africa before the coup that removed him from power, a low-lying civil war, and the bloody political unrest that followed. Bedie said he hoped to fulfill a mission to public safety to restore Ivory Coast. We're going to short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United States of America. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1. That is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk. The whole truth. Fight for glory. Desire for victory.
I am Lizzie Johnson Suleiman, and I want to use this time out to invite all the women watching me right now. It's our International Women Conference again. I know you will not want to miss this. Regardless of what is happening, we are trusting God that God is set to do something great in our midst.
Power! Happy sounds! 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 Power!
The theme for this conference this year is No More Tears, and the date is on the 12th, the 13th and 14th of August. God's servant Apostle Johnson Suleiman will be with us, ministering greatly, and God using him to reach out to us again. So you don't want to miss this. Just get set, prepare yourself to be in this meeting.
Touch! 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 Touch!
It's a time of revival. It's a time of revitalization. It's a time to get ourselves hooked up again, connected again to the supernatural. And you see what God will do in your life. The Lord bless you.
Live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. International Women Conference 2020.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT+1, that is 11 a.m. GMT+1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
Thanks for joining us once again. Now, updates from the United States of America. U.S. inaugurates experimental COVID-19 vaccine with 30,000 volunteers. The United States of America has commenced an experimental COVID-19 vaccine with 30,000 volunteers. According to the Washington Post, some Americans received shots of the vaccine created by the U.S. government as part of the all-out global race to stop the outbreak. The vaccine is being developed by the biotechnology company Moderna in collaboration with the U.S. National Institutes of Health. The U.S. Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Anthony Fauci, said the vaccination marks a much-anticipated milestone, the official launch of the first in this series of large U.S. clinical trials that will each test experimental vaccines in 30,000 participants, half receiving the shot and half receiving a placebo. Fauci predicted that researchers could understand whether the vaccine worked by November or December, although he explained that it was a distinct possibility an answer could come sooner. The vaccine requires 2 doses nearly a month apart, and then researchers will have to wait to see whether people get sick from coronavirus. More updates from Malaysia. Former Malaysian Prime Minister guilty on all charges in corruption trial. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has been found guilty in all 7 charges in the first of several multi-million-dollar corruption trials. He had pleaded not guilty to the charges of criminal breach of trust, money laundering, and abuse of power. The case against Najib, in office from 2009 to 2018, was widely seen as a test of Malaysia's anti-corruption efforts. The scandal around Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund has uncovered a global web of fraud and corruption. Najib could now face decades in prison, but he's expected to remain out of prison until appeals are exhausted. Today's verdict centered on 42 million ringgit, an equivalent of $10 million, which is also equivalent of 7.7 million pounds, transferred from the fund to the then Prime Minister's private account. Najib denies all wrongdoing and says he was misled by financial advisors, in particular fugitive financier Joe Low. Joe Low has been charged in both the US and Malaysia, but also maintains his innocence. Najib's defense team argued he was led to believe the funds in his accounts were donated by the Saudi royal family rather than misappropriated from the state fund. The charges carry as much as 15 to 20 years in prison each. Before the verdict, Najib said he would appeal if found guilty. And coming up next is business news. Power consumers in Nigeria groan as metering scheme suffers setback. Electricity consumers in the country have expressed disappointment over the metering scheme introduced by the federal government last year, as meter deployment by distribution companies has showed low or down. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission had on March 8, 2018 approved the meter asset provider regulations aimed at fast-tracking the closure of the metering gap in the sector through the engagement of third-party investors for the financing, procurement, supply, installation, and maintenance of electricity meters. NERC, which set a target of metering all consumers within 3 years, directed the DISCOs and the approved meter asset providers to commence the rollout of meters not later than May 1st, 2019. But in February this year, the Commission itself noted that several constraints, including challenges or changes in fiscal policy and the limited availability of long-term funding, had led to limited success in the meter rollout. The Commission said recently that 249 complaints were received from customers from June 19 to 25th, adding that interruptions, meters, and billing topped the list of customers' complaints. The President, Electricity Consumer Association of Nigeria, Mr. Chijioke James, said that many consumers had complained about the inability to get meters. James wondered why it was difficult for meter asset providers to get financing when consumers were ready to pay for meters, adding that the Bank of Industry could provide financing to enable the scheme to succeed. And still on business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria says banks' non-performing loans now 1.2 trillion naira. Banks' non-performing loans stood at 1.2 trillion naira as of the end of June, according to figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria. These amounted to about 6.4% of the gross credits of the bank to the economy, which stood at 18.9 trillion naira as of the period under review. The latest statistics show that the banks have gradually reduced the bad debts in their books in recent years. This was linked to increased recoveries, write-offs, and disposals by the leading institutions. According to figures from the National Bureau of Statistics on selected banking data, the lending institution non-performing loans stood at 1.67 trillion naira as of the end of March 2019 from a figure of 1.79 trillion naira as of the end of 2018. At the end of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele affirmed that the non-performing loans had decreased in the sector. He said the committee commended the Central Bank of Nigeria loan-to-deposit ratio initiative to address the credit conundrum, as the total gross credit increased by 3.33 trillion naira from 15.56 trillion naira to the end of May 2019 to 18.90 trillion naira at the end of June 2020. Also, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, Mr. Ahmed Kuru, said the corporation had developed a new receiver framework for its recovery agents. As part of the corporation's effort to recover the outstanding 5 trillion naira debts, he said the corporation has disengaged some of its receivers for non-performance. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back, we'll bring you sport and news. A sports festival in Nigeria may hold in 2020, says Minister. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Marks.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining, and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT+1, that is 11 a.m. GMT+1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. Fight for glory, desire for victory.
I am Lizzie Johnson Suleiman, and I want to use this time out to invite all the women watching me right now. It's our International Women Conference again. I know you will not want to miss this. Regardless of what is happening, we are trusting God that God is set to do something great in our midst.
Power! Happy sounds! 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 Power!
The theme for this conference this year is No More Tears, and the date is on the 12th, the 13th and 14th of August. God's servant Apostle Johnson Suleiman will be with us, ministering greatly, and God using him to reach out to us again. So you don't want to miss this. Just get set, prepare yourself to be in this meeting.
Touch! 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 Touch!
It's a time of revival. It's a time of revitalization. It's a time to get ourselves hooked up again, connected again to the supernatural. And you see what God will do in your life. The Lord bless you.
Live at International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. International Women Conference 2020.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Marks.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, that is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
And you're welcome to Sports News. And on Sports Festival in Nigeria may hold in 2020, says Minister. The Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Diary, says the 2020 National Sports Festival scheduled for Benin, Edo State, Nigeria could hold this year, but added that the ministry will be properly guided before taking a final decision. The National Sports Festival was postponed in March by the Sports Minister as a precautionary measure against the spread of the coronavirus in Nigeria. With normalcy gradually returning, Dari said the festival could hold before December. The minister on May 19 set up an 11-man committee to look into the possibility of hosting the event this year. The committee submitted its reports on June 12, and Dari says the report is currently with the implementation committee. Quickly, in another sports news, will limit players from Brazil, says Chinese Football Association. China's football squad will be limited to 3 or 4 Brazil-born players, as senior officials say, and ex-Chelsea star Oscar expressed an interest in becoming the latest Brazilian to represent the world's most populous country. Unless there is a radical policy change by FIFA, the Shanghai SIPG attacking midfielder will not be able to play for China because he has featured in competitive games for Brazil, including at the 2014 World Cup. But it is indicative of a landmark shift in Chinese football that Oscar said he can think about playing for China because it's difficult to go to Brazilian national team now. Oscar, who moved from Chelsea for an Asian record 60 million euros in January 2017, has seen Guangzhou Evergrande's Brazil-born forwards Alcacin and Aloiso called up by China in the past year as they seek to qualify for the next World Cup in 2022. At least 3 more Brazilians, also attackers, have become neutralized or are also close to doing so. But Chinese Football Association Secretary General Luigi laughed off the notion that ambitious China will turn into a team of Brazilians in a quick fix to reach the World Cup in Qatar. President Xi Jinping wants China to become a football superpower, but the country has made the World Cup only once in 2002 when they left without a point or a goal. That has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you're just joining us, here's the news headline recap. Nigeria federal government extends ease lockdown till August 6. Former Central African Republic President Francois Bozize to vie for presidency. U.S. inaugurates experimental COVID-19 vaccine with 30,000 volunteers. Power consumers in Nigeria groan as metering scheme suffers setback. And on sports festival in Nigeria may hold in 2020, says Minister. Quickly, we have a quote for the day, the photo of the day that says being late doesn't mean failure. Maybe it means getting ready for a greater launch. You see, can you see the picture right there? Racers who are actually on the run. Some actually, the fact that you didn't arrive late doesn't mean that you're a failure in life. It just means that you need to actually reinforce Yes, reinforce and get ready for a great lunch. You can as well drop your comment on our social media platform on Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, and then YouTube, Celebration TV. Remember that the continuous transformation of our society is a collective responsibility of all. No matter the office you hold today as a nation's president, a thought leader, an opinion molder, a character builder, professional, or as a person pursuing passion, you have a duty to give your role to making the society a better place for us and the generations to come. Play your part today and do it with all diligence. I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. Thank you once again for staying with us. Bless you. To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of